Hello. That's right, I graduated. Today we're talking about hybrid video and photo coverage. This is where you are the sole shooter and you're shooting photos and videos a la Taylor Jackson. We're going to rig up our camera to shoot photo and video at the same time. And that's key, because you don't need all this stuff if you're going to shoot video and photo at the same time. The best way to do it is with just a single camera. So this Nikon Z8, I can just by a flick of a switch, I can shoot a little bit of video, and this works great if you're shooting the decor, the location, the venue, some people at cocktail hour, and then switch and photograph, all that stuff again. You have to do everything double. And by the way, it's hard when you first start out as a photographer to think about video. Sometimes I forget. I have to go back and be like, oh yeah, let me get the room. Now, before we talk about rigging up your camera to shoot both, I want to talk about some of the cameras and the progression of how to shoot video at the same time as photo. So the first one and the easiest one is an action camera.
Not me, please. Don't eat me.
I think if you're shooting outdoors and there's a lot of light, that you can get away with providing your client with some behind the scenes. Maybe it's not as serious, you're not making like a full movie. An action camera is a great way to sort of also get videos for yourself. So you can have, what lights you used and a little behind the scenes action. You see what I did there? Now we can also rig up a phone to your camera so that you can just maybe shoot vertical video if you want to. We also have the DJI Pocket, which has a 1-inch sensor, has stabilization via the gimbal, and actually takes pretty decent video. And the last one I've been working with is actually rigging up a full camera to another camera. So you want the best quality, and it's gonna cost you some back pain. All right, so let's start with how to start rigging up your camera. The first thing you wanna do is get a cage for your model of camera. So this is the small rig cage for the Nikon Z8, and this allows you to sort of start connecting. It's got cold shoes on there. You can put stuff in the cold shoes. It has a bunch of connectors and holes and stuff like that. It does make your camera, it just completely automatically doubles the weight in your mind. Remember our life hack. On your keys, always have a multi-tool and then have some kind of thing that is like a screwdriver in case you're not near your bag, or if you forget a tool, you usually have your car keys. All right, so let's start if you're gonna connect stuff to the cold shoe. You're gonna need something like this little guy. This is a tiny little connector dude where you can slip into the cold shoe here, tighten. So here now we have a point of connection for our cameras. Now I have it on this side, and if you're shooting outdoors or in daylight, this works great. But if you're using a flash, a lot of times the flash is in the way. So we're gonna put it on this side. Now the one negative on this side is this cold shoe is like a little skewed. But what's cool about the action camera is it has a horizon leveler, like a 45 degrees horizon leveler. So you can actually have your camera, action camera like this, and it will record totally straight. Now, how do you hook up the action camera to this right here? Well, you need one of these little guys. It's like one of these action GoPro dudes with the quarter on the bottom. And then you can put this guy here, and then you can put your action camera like so. Now, what's great about the DJI, and they have accessories for GoPro too, but once you have it like this, and you're shooting your BTS and your whatever, you can sort of angle it around. If you're done with the camera or you need to change the battery, you can just, with the magnetic clip this off. And this is, if you want to put the camera in your pocket or whatever. And there's other little connectors we have here if you wanted to connect the action camera to your cage a different way. This is one of the connectors that has two sides. It has kind of like two ball heads. I found that this one moves a little too much, but yeah, you can connect this to the side of your camera like so. And then this can sort of go a couple of different ways. You can have this guy fold up, you see, like that. You can fold it to the side. So this guy is a little useful for very light things like an action camera. So again, you can put this now over here if you want it more out of the way. So that's an option as well. This is a GoPro connection phone mount dude. And let's say you're just doing vertical content for peeps. Yeah, it's doing pretty good. So now you can shoot vertical video as you're shooting photos, and you can what's neat is that with this GoPro, even if it's tight, you can move the phone and it just stays where you want to. All right, getting the DJI onto your camera so that you can shoot your cinematic videos. I found that the best way is to actually set up the camera so that the camera's not up and heavy like this. It's actually forward. So to do that, we need to mount it so that it's laying down. Annoyingly, the Pocket doesn't have a connector at the bottom, so we need to put on this extra piece, or you could put on the battery piece. I found the battery piece makes it just so long, by the way, when it's on your camera. So that's slightly annoying. So we're going to just use this connector. Make sure it's on. And now we do have this quarter dude on there. And again, we could just use this vlogger setup guy. So now we have the little vlogger dude. Everything's nice and tight. And this is what it looks like when you're shooting. Maybe you have your flash on here. This guy is straight out. It's a little hard to monitor because it's so far from you, the screen. But this is another option that you can shoot photos under this little setup and the camera will follow and record video. The positive of the DJI Pocket is it's lightweight, it's stabilized with the gimbal, and you could put a large card in there and actually get a lot of pretty good footage. This is great if it's daylight. Lower light, not as good, but still good enough for what you're trying to do. Remember, most of your hybrid coverage can come from your main camera. This is for the moments that you want to capture at the same time as photos. Now, you don't have to mount all your cameras to the top. You can actually mount cameras to the bottom. And that idea came to me a la Taylor Jackson, who in one video said if he wanted to capture moments of both photo and video, he could have a second camera shooting upside down on it like this. So he could shoot his photos and then just hold the second camera steady. And then later, in post, you just flip the whole image around, which I thought was a great idea. But anyway, here's what I did. I put this connector on here, and then I used a ball head. This is a big ball head, by the way. If you want to make this rig smaller, there are tinier ball heads like this little guy. You also want to put a smaller camera under there, like a little pocket camera of some kind, like a Nikon, a Sony ZV-1 or something. That'll work as well. But here's what I did. Put this here. Then I rigged the camera here. We connected it. So this is the rig without any lenses. Look at this thing. Look at this. Now what I love about this rig, although heavy, and by the way, I didn't use a neck strap here. I actually used a kind of a shoulder strap just to take a lot of the stress off the neck. What I like about this rig is that first of all, they're both the same kind of camera. They're both Nikons, and you can match your colors and your look and your style. That's number one. The other is that the Nikon has stabilization. A lot of smaller cameras don't have good stabilization. Like, for example, my A7C that I'm shooting the overhead with here, it's a great little camera. I love it. But its stabilization isn't as good as the Nikon Z6. But it is smaller, and you can record gyro data onto your Sonys, and then later you can, stabilize the footage. So that's another option, but workflow things. And lenses have to be light. We could put on the 14 to 30 millimeter f4. That's a nice small lens, keeps us nice and light. And for the video rig, I didn't want to put anything too large, so we got this super light plasticky lens that goes from 24 to 50. So we got a good range here, and it keeps our kit smaller. Bam. And also we have versatility of a zoom in case we need a zoom. But here it is. Here's the rig. Look at that. Oh, we got our thumbnail. So I did get to sample this, and this is what it looks like. There's trade-offs to everything. The big negative here is the heft, how heavy it is, but I think it's worth it for getting very, very good video footage while you're getting incredible photos. But for the most part, if I'm getting video, I'm gonna use some of the smaller cameras, the DJI Pocket. The action camera is the last place because it's so bad. But it works, it totally works. Let me know in the comments if you have an idea for this stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.